Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the fascinating neuroscience behind a struggle so many of us share, that persistent, nagging feeling of just not being good enough. We're going to break down exactly what's happening in your brain when that voice takes over, and much more importantly, how you can genuinely start to rewire it. Okay, picture this. You finally get that big promotion. Or, you reach that massive goal you've spent months grinding toward, and you get that glowing recognition. And for a fleeting moment, maybe a few hours, maybe a couple of days if you're lucky, it actually feels like enough. But then, almost like clockwork, it doesn't. That quiet voice creeps back in, telling you that you just got lucky or that the next person could do it better. You've probably carried this voice around for so long that you've completely stopped questioning where it even came from. Well, it turns out that fleeting feeling of achievement and the sudden return of your inner critic, it's not some sort of personal mindset failure. Not at all. It is actually a very specific, deeply ingrained neurological pattern. So here's our agenda for today. 1. Defining true self-worth. 2. Origins of the implicit self. 3. The brain's threat response. 4. The impact on daily life. And 5. How self-worth actually heals. Let's jump right in. Section 1. Defining true self-worth and understanding the foundation. Now, this is absolutely crucial. There is a massive, stark contrast between self-esteem and self-worth. You see, most advice out there tries to cure low self-worth by building self-esteem, telling you to achieve more, learn new skills, or just get more done, right? But self-esteem is evaluative. It's totally conditional. It's the answer to the question, am I good at things? Think of self-esteem like the weather. It changes based on the day. Self-worth, on the other hand, is the sky. It's completely existential and unconditional. It is the bedrock belief that you matter simply by being here, and it doesn't rise or fall based on your daily performance. But here's the catch. When your core self-worth is damaged, it becomes contingent. It becomes completely reliant on your performance. And the devastating reality of this is that enough never actually arrives. Your brain simply moves the goalposts the absolute second you achieve something. You think to yourself, I'll feel good enough when I get the promotion. And literally the moment it lands, your brain shifts the target to the next promotion. It's just a constant, exhausting, moving target. Section 2. Origins of the implicit self, where the moving target begins. So we need to understand exactly where this exhausting moving target comes from because, let's be real, you didn't consciously choose to develop it. It was actually built for you, primarily in the first 7 years of your life. This is a time when your brain is literally generating 1 million neural connections every single second. An infant brain arrives with zero self-concept, but it has this highly sensitive attachment system. It reads the responses of early caregivers to build its very first model of the world and of itself. And this creates what neuroscientists call the implicit self-model. It is buried way below language and conscious awareness, deeply encoded in the structures of your developing nervous system. It works like this. When caregivers consistently respond with warmth, attentiveness, and delight, the infant brain builds a model that says, I am enough, simply by being here. My needs matter. But on the flip side, if caregivers are consistently critical, emotionally unavailable, or maybe conditional in their affection, the brain encodes a very different, very painful belief. It learns, my needs are a burden. Love has to be earned through performance. I am not enough. Section 3. The brain's threat response and neurological reinforcement. Okay, so once this implicit model is formed, your brain essentially treats it as absolute truth. And to ensure your psychological survival, it works overtime to defend it. Meet your reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of this as your brain's primary attention filter. It completely determines what environmental information actually reaches your conscious awareness. So when your core self-model says, I am not enough, your RAS actively prioritizes any information that confirms that painful belief. I mean, it literally screens out genuine praise and magnifies every implied criticism just to maintain consistency with your internal model. Your brain isn't giving you objective reality, it's giving you a customized picture that perfectly matches what it already believes. And alongside the RAS, we've got 2 other major neurological players. First, there's the human negative cognitive bias. This is our evolutionary tendency to weigh negative information much more heavily, which makes it incredibly hard for people with low self-worth to absorb positive feedback. Honestly, a single minor criticism can wipe out weeks of genuine praise. Then there's the inner critic. Now, this isn't some rational evaluator. It's a misguided threat response. Because early on, not being enough meant losing love or safety, this critic is frantically trying to protect you from rejection by pointing out your flaws before anyone else has the chance to. Section 4. The impact on daily life when the pattern takes over. Obviously, these neurological patterns don't just stay neatly hidden inside your head. They dramatically shape your external reality and profoundly impact your daily experiences. In your relationships, a damaged self-worth creates this chronic need for external validation, which leads straight into people-pleasing and a really hard time setting boundaries. In your career, it produces crippling imposter syndrome, that awful feeling that you're always just one tiny mistake away from being exposed as a total fraud. And for your mental health, well, treating your own inadequacy as a constant threat keeps the brain's amygdala continually activated, meaning you are living in an exhausting, perpetual low-level stress response with constantly elevated cortisol. It is an incredibly heavy, invisible load to carry every single day. Section 5. How self-worth actually heals, rewiring the implicit model. Now for the good news. There is absolute hope in neuroplasticity. We can rewire the implicit model. But the absolute most important takeaway from this entire explainer is this. You literally cannot heal damaged self-worth by achieving more. You just can't. Because achievement addresses self-esteem, but it cannot answer the core existential question of whether you matter as a human being. The implicit self-model was built relationally, and it must be healed relationally. It requires the lived, repeated experience of being genuinely seen and accepted for exactly who you are, not for what you do. Research points us to 3 very powerful, compassionate pathways to provide this relational medicine. First up, a strong therapeutic relationship. Feeling genuinely accepted by a skilled therapist allows that implicit model to slowly begin updating. Second, unconditional self-compassion. Treating yourself with just basic kindness actually activates the brain's caregiving system and oxytocin pathways. Get this, your brain actually can't fully distinguish between compassion from others and compassion from yourself. And finally, safe, consistent personal relationships. These provide the steady, lived evidence you need to slowly rewrite that deeply encoded model. You can actually start shifting this reality today. When that inner critic speaks up, don't fight it. Just observe it as an outdated protection program. At the end of the day, try practicing self-acknowledgement. Recognize one thing about who you were today, maybe your patience or your courage, not just what you produced. Prioritize true, genuine connection over the endless chase for external validation. And of course, definitely consider professional support to help guide this deep structural rewiring of your nervous system. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember that the brain that learned a story about your worth can absolutely learn a different one. It takes time, for sure, and the steady accumulation of new relational evidence, but you are enough right now exactly as you are. Which leaves us with one provocative question to reflect on. What area of your life has not feeling enough cost you the most? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the mind. Take care of yourself and keep learning.